Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Ratchet World. So today we're going to be doing our 3-hole Road Glide oil change. So the oil I use is a Redline synthetic oil. This is the V-Twin 20W50 Power Pack from Redline. This comes with everything you need to do a full oil change. I also purchased the replacement gasket and O-rings from J&P Cycles. I will put a link down in the description below for all these products. I'll unbox this so you guys can see exactly what comes in it. So in the power pack, you do receive 5-quart 20W50 motorcycle oil, 1-quart transmission oil with shockproof, 1 quart of primary case oil, complete fuel system cleaner, a new K&N filter, you can get it in black or chrome, a funnel, some stickers, and a hat. For tools and funnels I'm using, I do have a foot-pound torque wrench, an inch-pound torque wrench, a ratchet with extension, T27 Torx, 3/8 hex bit, 5/8 socket, a filter wrench, oil filter funnel, primary case funnel, engine and transmission funnel, an oil measuring cup, some PigMat just in case we have some spillage, and some gloves. For the motorcycle jack, I am using the J&S jack. This has an oil pan that runs off into this oil pan, which makes it a cleaner process. And I'll show you guys that later on in the video. Before I start changing the oil, I'm gonna go ahead and take it on a ride. We wanna get it to normal operating temperature, and then we can get it rolling. So I got the bike nice and hot. I'll go ahead and roll the jack underneath. So the J&S jack has these 2 turning knobs. You twist them until they're secure on the ground so the jack's not rolling around on you. This jack also has these 2 latches you drop down, so when you're jacking it up, it locks it in. For the engine oil filler plug, it's just a twist cap. You just twist it off. Just make sure you got a rag or something just to catch that oil. For the transmission filler plug, it's a 3/8 hex bit. Once you break it loose, you can unscrew it with your hand. So this oil funnel pan, you can purchase it separately on J&S jacks. It's basically just gonna sit under here, locks into place, and just sets down there. So for your 3 drain plugs, you have your engine oil, which is towards the front, you have your transmission, and you have your primary. And all of these are a 5/8 socket. So while this is still draining out, I'll go ahead and remove the transmission oil plug. Now that the engine and the transmission oil are draining out, I'll go ahead and remove the primary plug. What's great about this pan, you can pull all 3 plugs and it drains out right into the container. This is a good time to inspect your plugs. You want to check those O-rings to see if they're cracked or frayed. I go ahead and change the O-rings, they're inexpensive. When you're inspecting your primary plug, just check those metal shavings. Make sure you don't have more than usual. You will have some. I'll use this picking tool to get these O-rings off of here. I'll also take a wire brush and clean this plug off. Once I have the plugs nice and clean, I'll go ahead and install the new O-rings. So now I'm gonna remove the engine oil filter. I'm gonna take some PigMat and I'm gonna stuff it down in there just in case we have some spillage. I'll take this filter funnel and put it in there. You have a hose that attaches to it and it'll drain out into your oil pan. So in this funnel kit, it comes with a nail. I'll go ahead and puncture a hole in the filter so it'll drain out some oil. Because I have the fairing spoiler kit, I had to remove the shifter lever just to get a better angle. From here, I'll take my oil filter wrench and remove this oil filter. This is why I put that PigMat in there, just in case I got some spillage. I'll go ahead and pull this out and clean up the rest. Now that these three have completely drained out, I'll go ahead and reinstall the drain plugs. So these plugs did have some type of Teflon tape on them. You can put some on there if you want to. I'm gonna choose not to. So for all three drain plugs, it's calling for 14 to 21 foot-pounds. I'm gonna torque it down to 18. Here I have the new K&N filter. Just make sure you're inspecting your canister for any dents or damage. I'll go ahead and fill this up halfway with some 20W50, and I'll make sure I lubricate this seal. Now I'm gonna install the new oil filter. Just make sure you're filling it up about halfway so you're not having a dry start. So I don't suggest using a wrench for this. It's pretty easy to get this on. Once you feel contact with the seal, you want to give it about 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. Now I'll go ahead and remove the derby cover. These are our T27 Torx. Just make sure when you're removing these screws, you're not losing these washers. Make sure when you're removing that last screw, you're supporting your derby cover so it's not falling on you. When you take your cover off, if you don't plan on changing out your gasket, just make sure you inspect it for any cracks or damage, but I'll be changing this one out. So when you're placing your gasket in here, it's gonna look like it doesn't fit, but it actually does. Just play with it a little bit, you'll get it to fit. So this is my primary funnel. It's gonna sit in here just like this. Just makes it a little easier to fill. So here I have my Redline V-Twin primary case oil. The primary is asking for a wet fill of 30 ounces. It should take a quart, so we'll go ahead and fill this up. So my primary took exactly a quart, and the oil's sitting right here at the bottom of the pressure plate. I'm gonna go ahead and put my derby cover back on. I'm gonna loosely put on these screws, and then when it's time to tighten them down, I'm gonna tighten them down in a star pattern. So when you're tightening these screws down, you want to go in a star pattern so you're not misaligning that gasket. So for these screws, it's calling for 84 to 108 inch-pounds. I'll go ahead and tighten them down to 95. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the engine oil. It's asking for 4 quarts. So while I'm prepping the other bottle, I'll go ahead and just let this drain out. So I filled up the engine with 4 quarts. I'm gonna go ahead and fill the transmission. It's calling for 28 ounces. Here I have the Redline V-Twin transmission oil. So I have 18 ounces in this measuring cup, and then we'll go from there. I went ahead and grabbed the shorter funnel. So I just hand tighten this for now. We'll run the bike till it's hot, and then we'll check the levels. So if you look at your engine oil dipstick, you can check it while it's on the jiffy stand, or you can check it while it's upright. Just make sure you're screwing your dipstick all the way down. It looks like we're good to go. So you can use your 3/8 hex bit just to screw this on and off. So here's your transmission oil dipstick. You want it to read between add and full. Same with the transmission oil dipstick. Make sure you're screwing it all the way down. So it looks like we're between add and full, so we're good to go. So the transmission filler plug is calling for 25 to 75 inch-pounds. I'll go ahead and tighten it down to 50. So once you're done filling this up, just make sure you're cleaning any oil that might have got anywhere. So for the fuel system cleaner, I would wait for your gas tank to be close to empty, fill it up with the 4 fluid ounces, fill your tank, then just go for a ride. All right guys, so that was your 3-hole oil change. Just make sure you're keeping up with those regular service intervals after that first case service. And obviously all this can be done on a jiffy stand. So like always, I really appreciate y'all watching the channel. For those of you subscribed already, thank you so much. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.